hole. So he's very well read. He's like Tupac Shakur. He was trained early on in all these mystery schools, right? And they said, no, Greco-Roman foundations is Black Africa. And this is the claim that they are staking, and that includes Jay-Z. And that's the claim to power. That's the claim to rule. That's holding the divine staff, the rod, the spear of destiny. So you have all these different layers going on. I didn't get a chance to see the performance at the Grammys of Kendrick Lamar, but I saw some critiques of it. I don't think the Grammys allowed it to be put up on TubeView, but I'm going to find it because now I'm really interested in picking apart what Kendrick Lamar is all about. I mean, I'm happy on one hand he's bringing back prominence to West Coast rap. He's from the city of Compton, right? And with Compton, I associate NWA, right? That whole renaissance there. So he's holding it down for the locals here. Now he lives in Brentwood. He lives in Calabasas, where all the other rich folk live, but he still has connections there. And the city or two over, you have people like Snoop Dogg, who's a multimillionaire from the LBC, Long Beach City. And this is only 25 miles away from Pacific Palisades. It's in the Los Angeles basin. And it's a world apart, but they're linked together in this tension, this power tension, and this war, low intensity war between three rival civilizational, and they're all cousins, by the way. This is how I break it down in the most simple terms. There's this low intensity warfare that's being waged through culture wars, such as through rap, hip hop, country, and the pop music. And they all come from Ibrahim or Abraham, the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Three, that they're all related by Abraham, right? So the handlers at the world systems level said, well, in order to keep control of the entire world, we're going to create friction and conflict between the three Abrahamic cousins. So we're going to create tension between blacks and Jews, for example. This happened in the 60s and the 70s. There was a falling out, and there's still some tension going on there. And then you have the wars in the Middle East, right, via our client states in the area. I don't have to name them, but they're the same people who work with people like Harley Pasternak, if that gives anybody a clue. And Ye is spot on. You don't have to speak in code. I know who he's talking about. These are the same people who are putting the knife historically in different groups while they are behind the scenes running a scam. And currently they're putting the knife in the hands of the Chinese. They say, oh yeah, the Chi-Coms are behind the theft of all AI, OpenAI to DeepSeek, right? You know, the sneaky Asians, Suchir Balaji, the Indians, right? So, and of course, the people at the top, they're not Asian, all right? I want to say this publicly, that at least there's one Oriental out here who's not buying the story, because we've been scapegoated time and time again for these larger problems between the three main branches of Abraham, right? And right now it's against China. I don't know if you're seeing this in the UK as well, but there's a lot of rhetoric that's pointing the finger there. And I'm not saying they're our friends, but they are not the enemies of human civilization. And toward that end, by the way, in order to break the barricade that's been imposed by people who run Sony Records or RCA Records, the Tommy Mottolas of the world, who's kind of low level, but it was Michael Jackson who referred to him as evil, evil, evil. He was married to Mariah Carey and kept her in virtual slavery, right? In order to do this, I'm going to found my own recording, entertainment, and media combine. It's going to be called Chi-Com Records. right? Or yellow record. I'm not really sure because the prime minister of Japan just met with Donald Trump. He said, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invest $1 trillion to America. I like where it's going. I'd like President Donald Trump. So I'm going to say, hey, some of that $1 trillion should be going to our community, the yellow community, so that we can develop our own arts that we have been excluded from by the people who live in Pacific Palisades. Even they got screwed over eventually. Their property was stolen. But that happened to my people during World War II. That happened to the Chinese in the late 19th century. They was dispossessed. So that what that tells me is that the ruling elite, the people who are worshipers of these occult systems, race and ethnicity doesn't, or nationality for sure, does not matter. They're at war with all of them. So my hopes is that I take a little part of that $1 trillion that Japan will be investing in the U.S. economy and bust some of that off and start subsidizing artists who will be able to communicate these somewhat difficult ideas and concepts and observations that I'm presenting to the American and the world and the international public right here and right now. Does that sound like a good business plan?
Well, Professor, thank you for opening with that. And we have got congratulations on getting over 50,000 subscribers. I'm going to put the channel link
that to
in the
you.
live chat. Put the channel link there. Let's keep it going. Let's get you up to 100,000. And we have 35 minutes in already with your opening statement. So
Sorry.
We've got, you're fine. We've got 25 minutes left before we've got a pre-record with Jaguar Wright coming up.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
But yeah, you so far everything you've said is phenomenal. So I'll just sit back, keep going.
Okay, now this includes the great American working class that migrated to places like Compton, Downey. In early television, when it finally came to Los Angeles area, we're talking about the 1950s, some of the earliest live shows were music that featured country artists. So Los Angeles, outside of Nashville, had a very lively country music scene in the 1950s through the 1960s. And now it's kind of known worldwide as the Bakersfield sound. I mean, it was larger than Buck Owens and the Buckaroos, Merle Haggard, people like that. But it's much larger than that. But the point is, there was a huge out-migration from the South to Los Angeles to work in the burgeoning post-war industries related to defense, the aerospace, aeronautics, all these factory jobs. And it just brought in all this incredible. That's where also large numbers of the forebears of Kendrick Lamar come from. They come from the South, and they migrated to LA, and they moved into these different communities. It's the same with my people. They migrated from the Pacific Islands to LA to become part of this renaissance, right? And the reason I mention that is because we are poised to enter a second golden age that we haven't seen since the 1950s. But it's going to be different because now it has this universal access to technologies that can be enslaving, but they can also be liberating. So the points that I'm trying to bring up here is intended to help the upcoming generation, the future country stars, music stars, rap, hip hop, whoever, yellow rap, yellow hip hop, whatever music that the young people are right in the process of creating now, their own movies, to say this is the history that you are inheriting, and you're going to have to take it forward, and you're not going to be crippled and hobbled by these earlier systems, because you have the most important defense of all, and that's knowledge, right? This is what, and I'm saying again, repeating or kind of stressing the contributions of Kendrick Lamar, because that is a award, and that is a person who is fully deserving of recognition at his level. He did win a Grammy Award, right? Best rap album. Not many people are focusing on that. They're putting all the attention on Jay-Z and Beyonce. It should be on Kendrick Lamar. He's under 40 years old. His message is very important for making America great again. Kendrick Lamar, I'm talking about, right? Now, that's not all cut and dried as that, because from what I read, and I'll have to look more into it, he was also he was in public support of so-called Black Lives Matter. And I think what we're going to find with this new USAID, the United States Agency for International Development, that's what it stands for, by the way, which I found out about in 1972, by the way, through a film called State of Siege by Costa Gavra. I said, oh, this is how America works. This is back in 1972, ladies and gentlemen. I was in college, and I pretty much had figured it out by that time. They're going to find that USAID funded BLM and Antifa, so-called Antifa, and all these AstroTurf organizations. They sound grassroots, but it's AstroTurf. And that's the end of them. Right. So Kendrick Lamar is going to have to drop that allegiance, the blind allegiance to BLM. And he's also going to have to drop the blind allegiance that he has to Barack Hussein Obama, because he publicly supported him for candidate. So I don't care how wise and perceptive you are, as in Kendrick Lamar, his flow, his lyrics, his content, his music, his production skills, his performance, all of it. He's a total package. We all have our blind spots, and one of them is he bought the ticket on Obama. He got buffaloed on that. That's cool. He's only human. Plus, he wants to get over in mainstream, unless you pledge allegiance to so-called Kamala Harris or these other pretenders, Obama. We all know about his weird backstory. Unless you pledge allegiance, you're not going nowhere. So I see some incredible output, creative output, political output from a Kendrick Lamar in the future. So again, what I'm telling you this is because it's not all negativity. The Grammys, don't give up on quote unquote Hollywood. Don't give up on Nashville. It's not coming to an end, right? Death is part of the birth process. We're going through the death throes right now, but out of it will be a rebirth, encapsulated in the slogan, "Make America Great Again." Comments? Debbie Zapina, how you doing?
So earlier
my
on,
Ebonics? Yeah.
Earlier on, you mentioned about Beyonce and Jay-Z trying to steal the show, but didn't they get gazumped by Kanye on the red carpet with Bianca?
I think that was part of his strategy. That could be read on many. I don't know if he actually got kicked out or not. I'm reading conflicting reports, but they probably showed him the door politely. I think this is my my feeling was that, and this is not fair to Bianca, his so-called wife. I think he was saying, "Hey, listen, the Grammys is about it's a flesh trade. It's a slave market. Here it is. Here, you want to see naked flesh, you want to see naked body, raw talent, so to speak. Double entendre intended. Here it is. Take off the fur coat," and they took him. I say, Kanye, you've taken it one step too far. And now, according to you, I'm going to look at the tweets. He's gone on the counteroffensive. Yay.
Piers Morgan is presently calling for Elon to suspend Kanye's tweeting. He's saying that he's inciting hatred and violence against certain groups of people.
Well, that man needs to be deported. There's no reason why he should have a presence on American media. Right? Same with Anna Wintour. Anna Wintour, who runs Vogue magazine and Condé Nast magazine. Right? That's Americana. What are these agents, these intelligence, not agents, assets, let's say. What are they doing in American media? I want to see all the receipts on USID and the connection to this character, this ass clown. He does not have the right to speak to any issues concerning ethics or morality. The reason why he had to leave Britain is because he was involved in a spying scandal himself with his own newspaper. Am I right? Mr. Atwood, am I right about that?
Absolutely, you are right. So Rain Marie's got a question. What